And in terms of growing industry sectors, what sectors do you anticipate showing the largest growth in the coming decade?
I do believe that the sectors in which we have been traditionally strong, such as financial services, pharmaceuticals, diagnostic equipment, machinery, fine tools, I believe that they will continue to be strong in Switzerland. But over the last 10, 20 years or so, we also have made great strides in medical technology, in biotech sector, and I think those are growth areas that will help Switzerland to become even more advanced in the high tech sector.
And with such an incredible landscape in Switzerland, the Alps and the lakes and the incredible culture and food, I have to imagine tourism is a significant industry sector as well.
Tourism contributes about 2.5% to GDP. If you look at all the supporting industries, it is almost 3 times as much. So it is a very important, tourism is a very important sector, and the Swiss government, our government, invests heavily in tourism, in the beautification of the country, and we experienced, during the economic crisis, we experienced a little bit of a downturn, but we are back up to speed again, and visits from the United States have gone up by 10% again last year, despite the strong franc.
For those of us that haven't been to Switzerland, what message might you have for prospective U.S. tourists about what they'd find during a visit there?
They would find the highest density, for example, the highest density of museums per capita in the world, which may surprise a lot of people. Then, of course, the natural beauty of the Alps, lakes, clean lakes. You can swim in rivers. That's one of the attractions of the capital, where I worked before I came here in the summer. Sometimes all the civil servants, all the federal buildings, they empty out. Everybody goes down to the local river to swim in the river, and so you find pristine environment, beautiful scenery, interesting cities, very livable cities. Consistently, our big cities have been the most competitive in terms of living standards and in quality of life. So you'll find all that.
Now, for the U.S. business people that may not have foreign language skills, how hard would it be for them to find an agent or a distributor or to conduct business in Switzerland?
They wouldn't even know that they have left the United States.
Really?
I'm exaggerating, of course, a little bit, but very many Swiss people are fluent in several languages, and more English, of course, has become the language of choice when it comes to business meetings, even among Swiss, interestingly enough. And with so many companies established, foreign companies established in Switzerland, you probably find in boardrooms and executive rooms more English being spoken than any other language.
Wow. So our small and mid-sized businesses need not be intimidated. This sounds like a very welcoming business environment as well as a tourism environment.
It is a very welcoming business environment, as the success that we have experienced in attracting foreign companies shows.
Over the past several years, we've had the distinct pleasure of working with one of your colleagues, Daniel Bangser, at Swiss Trade and Promotion. He's based in New York, and we've hosted the Manufacturing Summit here, which has highlighted some of the work that you and the administration and your colleagues are doing to train the workers of tomorrow. I'm wondering if you could just tell me a little bit about that program. I think our audience would find it really interesting.
We have in Switzerland what we call the dual educational system. It's vocational training and education. Basically, what it means, at the age of 16, you go to a trade school. You go to which you will attend 2 days per week, and 3 days per week you will be in a company that will devise a program particularly for you as a trainee. And so the whole system is based on cooperation by the companies, and that's why this system is so well integrated in Switzerland. It's supported by the government, but it is also very much supported by private businesses. And I do believe that the fact that we have been able to have a highly skilled workforce, both in terms of language skills, but also vocational, professional skills, is due to this system, which means that the vast majority of people and students in Switzerland do not go to college. They go to one of these trade schools and get their apprenticeship, get their training for 3 to 4 years in a company.
Well, this sounds like an amazing program. Has it been fairly successful?
It has been very successful, and I do believe in Switzerland, not going to college is not a stigma. People take pride in the skills that they acquired in the course of such a program, of going to school and at the same time being integrated in the working process of a company. They take pride. At the end of such a program, they get a diploma. They have tough exams in school as well as at the job. So that they are very happy and very content to have gone through this program and acquired all these skills. And if they choose to do so later on, they can go on for continuing training, for continuing academic education, and they can develop their theoretical skills further on if they choose to do so.
So now this apprenticeship, for lack of a better word, sounds like something that benefits the students, but also the companies. And it sounds like the companies are actually supporting this. In terms of placement and placing the students into a business, is that done at the university level, or does the company avail themselves to the students?
What very often happens, particularly of course if the company is happy with the students and they have been able to observe them over the course of 3 years, they hire them. So it's beneficial for both of them. The first year, I would say roughly, it depends on the industry, but the first year it's probably an investment for the company, because they put more into the program than they get out of the student in terms of performance and productivity. But at some point in the second year, that equation changes. And while the students are paid for their performance, they are actually more productive and they put more into the company than they take out in terms of salary. So it is a hugely beneficial system also for the companies, and that's why it's successful also for the companies, not just for the students. It really is a win-win situation.
It just sounds like such a forward-thinking program. It sounds incredibly impressive, and I'm guessing that it applies more to manufacturing than it would to, say, financial services.
We have this system across the board. You are right. There are industries that lend themselves more to that kind of a program than others. But I wouldn't exclude any of the sectors from this program.
Great. Well, we appreciate the program that you hold here, because I think it certainly opens my eyes to other ways that we can be training the workforces of tomorrow, given what's happening in the economy, what industries are emerging, and it's a new way to kind of go about apprenticing students.
What we're also experiencing is the fact that students not only acquire professional and vocational skills in the companies, the fact that they're also going to school and learn language skills there and accounting, how to work with computers, that makes them also more easily retrainable. If there is a recession, if in one industry sector there is a downturn, it's easier to retrain them for another sector, because they have more basic skills because of their school education than they otherwise would.
Switzerland is unique in that it's located smack in the middle of Europe. Can you tell us about the advantages of that location?
If you look at the geography, of course Switzerland is at the very heart of Switzerland. But more than that, Switzerland it also belongs to three major cultural areas. So sometimes people refer to Switzerland as Europe in a nutshell. We have the Italian-speaking part, we have the French-speaking part, we have the German-speaking part, and we have the Romansh-speaking part. So it's also, for that reason, it is an attractive place for companies to invest, because of it's not only a geographical hub, it's also a cultural hub. And with all the languages that are spoken there, it is a little bit of a mirror image of Europe itself.
Now, Switzerland clearly has a very rich history with influences from Germany, Austria, France, Italy. How do these influences manifest themselves in the areas of art, music, culture, literature?
Culturally, the German-speaking Swiss are probably more oriented towards Germany. The French-speaking Swiss are more oriented towards France, and the Italian speakers are more oriented towards Italy. That seems obvious because of the linguistic similarities or identical languages, and they're in that sense they are probably culturally they're more drawn to their neighbors abroad than to their brethren across the language divide within the country. So we do have a rich cultural expression in the three linguistic groups. Again, you find Swiss German authors who live in Berlin. We have chansonniers from the French part of Switzerland who live in Paris. And we have great architects in the Italian part of Switzerland that are influenced by Italian architecture. But it has never been experienced really as a divide. It's just an expression of our distinct cultural heritage, and the Swiss in all three or four parts, if you include the Romansh, they're all happy to be Swiss and just to be part of this melting pot.
Switzerland is the 7th biggest investor in the United States. What is it about the United States that makes it so attractive to the Swiss as an investment opportunity?
Of course, the United States is attractive for every country, for every investor in the world. Just because it's such a dynamic economy, there's so much innovation that is going on here, so much research, there's so much money also that is dedicated privately as well as publicly to these efforts. So it is a wonderful place to invest for companies around the world. In terms of Swiss companies, it's some of the biggest companies, of course, are in the financial services area, in the pharmaceutical area, in the food production area, and heavy machines. I would say these are probably the main Swiss investors here in the United States, and they're all doing very well. They find this a great place to be.
Ambassador Sager, I understand this is your 3rd tour to the United States. I'm curious what you enjoy the most during your time here.
I would have to say the people. Ever since my youth, I've had a lot of American friends. I eventually met my wife on the coast of Oregon in a youth hostel 28 years ago. And all in all, I've lived in the U.S. for almost 12 years. So it's just a great pleasure and a tremendous privilege to be back here to serve my country in a country that I appreciate so much.
On our behalf, it's an absolute honor and pleasure to have you here with us today at the Ronald Reagan Building and International Trade Center. And I just want to thank you for coming in.
The pleasure is mine, Andrew.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.